Okay, imagine this. The power goes out, not just at your house, everywhere. No heating, no electricity, no supermarkets, no cars that start, and it's freezing outside. Minus 30, minus 40 degrees. Now here's the part that should scare you a little. Scientists and survival experts genuinely believe that if an ice age hit us today, most modern countries wouldn't last more than a week. Not a year, not a month, a week. And the wild part? The people who actually lived through the real ice age thousands of years ago, with none of our modern technology, survived it for more than 100,000 years. So by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why we'd crumble in days, while they thrived for millennia. And honestly, it might completely change the way you look at modern life. Let's start with the biggest myth we all believe, that because we have phones, cars, heaters, and supermarkets, we're somehow tougher or better equipped than people who lived 20,000 years ago. Here's the problem with that idea. Almost everything we rely on today depends on something else working first. Your heater needs electricity. That electricity needs a power grid. That power grid needs fuel, or workers who can physically get to a power plant and keep it running. The moment roads freeze over and become impossible to drive on, that entire chain breaks. Not damaged, broken, completely. Ancient humans never had this problem, and it wasn't because they were lucky. It's because they never built a system that big or that fragile in the first place. If their fire went out, they simply made another one using flint, dry moss, and wood they'd already gathered. If we lose power today, the average person doesn't even own a lighter that works without fuel, let alone know how to start a fire from scratch. Think about how strange that is. We call ourselves the most advanced version of humanity ever to exist. But if electricity disappeared for just 1 week, most people wouldn't be able to heat a single room, cook a meal, or purify water. Ancient humans could do all three with their bare hands and whatever was lying on the ground around them. This is the core idea of this entire video. We haven't become tougher over time. We've become more comfortable, and comfort and toughness are not the same thing. Let's talk about something most people never think about until it's too late: food. Here's a number that might surprise you. Most major cities only have 3 to 5 days worth of food on store shelves at any given time. That's it. Grocery stores don't have giant underground warehouses filled with a year's supply of food. They rely on just-in-time delivery, where trucks constantly restock shelves, sometimes multiple times a day, from farms that could be hundreds or even thousands of miles away. Now imagine an actual ice age. Roads freeze over, trucks can't move, farms disappear beneath feet of snow, and crops still growing in the fields simply die. Within 3 to 5 days, less than a week, city shelves would be completely empty. Not running low, empty. And here's the part that gets really uncomfortable. Most people living in cities don't have a backup plan. No stored grain, no root cellar, no dried meat. If the delivery trucks stop, the food stops. Full stop. Now compare that to the people who actually lived through the ice age. They didn't depend on daily deliveries from distant farms. They stored food that could last for months without refrigeration. Dried meat, calorie-rich animal fat, and root vegetables buried underground, where the frozen earth acted like a natural freezer. They planned for scarcity because scarcity wasn't an emergency. It was just another Tuesday. They understood something we've largely forgotten. Food security isn't about how much food exists in the world. It's about how much food you can access without depending on a system outside your control. And today, almost none of us can. This next part might be the most important point in this entire video, so stick with me. We assume that because technology has advanced, humans as a species have also become better at surviving, but that's actually backwards. In terms of raw survival skills, we've gone downhill, hard. During the Ice Age, ancient humans could read the sky and predict a storm hours before it arrived. They could track an animal for miles using nothing but footprints and instinct. They could build shelters from snow, bone, and animal hide that kept entire families alive in temperatures as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius. And they could keep a fire burning through a blizzard without letting it go out. Now ask yourself honestly, how many people you know could do even one of those things today? Most people have never started a fire without a lighter or a match. Most people wouldn't know which way is north without a phone. And if they were stranded outside in freezing weather with only the clothes they were wearing, many would be in serious danger within just a few hours. This isn't an insult. It's the reality of specialization. We've spent our lives learning to code, manage spreadsheets, and use apps. Skills that are incredibly valuable in the world we've built, but nearly useless if that entire system suddenly disappears. Ancient humans didn't didn't have the luxury of specialization. From a young age, everyone had to know how to find water, start a fire, identify safe food, and build shelter. It wasn't a hobby or a survival challenge. It was simply what being human meant. We didn't evolve beyond those skills. We just stopped needing them, for now. Now, you might be thinking this is all hypothetical, but we've already seen smaller versions of this happen in real life, and it's terrifying how quickly things can fall apart. Take the winter storm that hit Texas in February 2021. This was a modern, wealthy state in one of the richest countries in the world. Temperatures dropped far below what the infrastructure was built to handle. Snow and ice knocked out power plants, and within days, millions of people were left without electricity or heat in freezing conditions. Water pipes burst. Water treatment plants failed, leaving shelves emptied within a day or two as panic buying spread and delivery trucks became stranded on icy roads. People died, not in some dramatic ice age scenario, but inside their own homes, because the systems they depended on simply couldn't withstand a few days of extreme weather. And that wasn't even a real ice age. It was one unusually cold week. Yet it exposed just how thin the line is between normal modern life and a full-blown crisis. Now imagine scaling that up. No power, no clean water, no food deliveries. But instead of lasting 1 week in one state, it lasts indefinitely. And it's happening everywhere because the climate has shifted into a true ice age. There's no waiting for warmer weather because the weather never warms up. There's no neighboring state sending emergency supplies because every neighboring state is facing the exact same collapse at the exact same time. The Texas freeze was a preview, a small glimpse of what happens when modern infrastructure meets extreme cold. It barely lasted a week before people were suffering. Now imagine no one is coming to repair the power grid because there's no functioning power grid left to repair. So if we'd fall apart this fast, how did people back then survive an actual ice age that lasted for tens of thousands of years? It comes down to a few things, and honestly, they're kind of brilliant when you break them down. First, shelter. Ancient humans didn't try to fight the cold with technology like we would. They worked with what the environment gave them. Some groups dug shelters partly into the ground because the soil insulated against the wind and trapped heat far better than buildings fully exposed above ground. Others used the bones and hides of massive animals like mammoths to create sturdy frames and natural insulation, building homes from the very animals that had fed them for weeks. Nothing was wasted. Everything had a purpose. Second, clothing. This is often overlooked, but it may have been one of the biggest reasons they survived at all. Ancient humans developed layered clothing made from animal hides and fur, designed to trap body heat while allowing moisture to escape so they wouldn't freeze from sweat. This wasn't guesswork. It was survival knowledge refined through countless generations of trial and error. Third, and this is the one people underestimate the most, cooperation. Ancient humans didn't survive the Ice Age as isolated individuals. They survived in close-knit groups where food, warmth, skills, and responsibilities were shared. One person hunting alone in that environment was almost certainly doomed, but a group working together could endure conditions that would overwhelm any individual. That's actually the opposite of how many modern crises unfold. During emergencies, people often rush to secure supplies for themselves first. Ancient survival depended on the community staying united. Their greatest survival tool wasn't just fire or shelter, it was each other. So here's where it all comes together, and honestly, it's a little humbling. We look at the Ice Age and imagine primitive humans barely surviving, shivering in caves, desperate and afraid. Meanwhile, safe in warm homes with food delivered right to our doors. But flip the scenario. Drop modern society into a real Ice Age with no warning, and give it just 1 week. Based on everything we've covered, the food supply collapsing within days, the power grid failing, and most people unable to start a fire or build proper shelter, many modern countries would struggle to make it through that first week intact. Meanwhile, the primitive humans we often underestimate didn't just survive an ice age. They thrived through one for more than 100,000 years, across countless generations, without a single power plant, hospital, or grocery store. That's not primitive. We did become tougher as a species. We became more comfortable, quietly outsourcing our survival skills to systems we don't control, and in many cases, don't fully understand. Most of us don't know how our drinking water is purified, how food reaches supermarket shelves, or how the electricity powering our homes is generated. We simply trust that it all works, until one day, it doesn't. So the next time someone says humans have evolved beyond needing survival skills, remember this: evolution didn't make us tougher. Comfort just made us forget how tough we used to be. If this video made you see modern life a little differently, hit the like button so more people can discover it. And subscribe, because there's a lot more history like this coming. Stories that might completely change the way you see the world. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.